Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to today's video. Mars is in Gemini, and Mars is in Gemini as of right now. So I wanted to do a video on what that means for us. So we'll do Mars in Gemini for all signs of the zodiac. And I hadn't planned on doing it exactly when Mars entered Gemini, but it's within minutes of Mars entering Gemini. Now, Mars in Gemini is fine. It's not the perfect sign for Mars to be in because it's easy for us to go all over the place. But it is a freaking miracle compared to Mars and Taurus, especially after the conjunction we just had with Mars conjunct Uranus in Taurus and all the insanity in the world. I did a whole video on the Trump shooting as far as the astrology of it, so feel free to watch that. And I want to give an update on that because I did say in that video that Jupiter in his 11th house, trining his natal Jupiter in the 3rd house, was something related to the immediate environment helping him. The people in the immediate environment and the audience helping him. And I did watch a video of him talking about it recently. And he said that what happened was normally people run away from shootings. Like if they hear a shot, they start running and stampeding. But what people did, he said, was they stood up and they pointed out the shooter. And so that is exactly what the astrology said. So I wanted to add that. And if you're not into politics, that's fine. Most of what we do on this channel is more about navigating our inner world and how to use astrology to be better people without the toxic positivity. So if that's what you're into, you're in the right place. And what else? Go ahead and comment in the comments. How was the Mars-Uranus conjunction for you? And that would have been last Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Did anything suddenly feel more tense? Was there any sudden unexpected break in any area of life? And keep in mind that they're going to affect everyone differently. So if you're like, nothing happened, it's fine. And on a transit like this, like Mars-Uranus, if nothing happened, you're good. If nothing happened, that's probably the best case scenario because Mars-Uranus is so explosive. And it's so just unexpected blow-ups. I did have, I don't want to say what happened, but there was an area of my life where I had the unexpected blow-up. It was me. And it was something because, okay, so with Mars-Uranus, oftentimes you're more aware of the thing that you have, if something's been bothering you and you're ignoring it, Uranus itself will bring that up. You know, it's going to bring up the real, authentic stuff. And so there was an area of my life where some stuff was really bothering me, and it was a situation where I couldn't really address it. It wasn't a kind of situation where you can go to this person and be like, hey, you're bothering me. It was not that type of thing. And it did end up having a little bit of a unexpected expression of that energy. But that's what Uranus will do. So if you had something Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday that was unexpected, that was sudden, where you the tension was released suddenly, and it was it could be you or someone else, but you're like, where did that come from? Well, it came from, probably, in a lot of cases, especially if this is emotional, something you weren't dealing with. Or maybe you knew it was there, but you couldn't do anything about it. So that's what happens, is Uranus-Mars kind of hits that pressure point, and bam! It sort of becomes very quickly heated and out of hand. Okay, so what does misbehaving say happen? And for anyone just jumping on, we're going to go through Mars entering Gemini for all signs in this video. Oh, and before I get too far, you guys, I have a new course on the 9th house. So if you want to know about your spiritual path and astrology, this course is, a lot of people with their spiritual path, you're like, oh, what about the nodes? What about Pluto? But I have tons of videos on the nodes and Pluto. So I made a course about the 9th house. That's the third pillar of this stool that is going to be the information of astrology and your spiritual path. So check out the link below. It teaches you your 9th house, but it also teaches you to read your 9th house from the sun and moon. And you don't really have to read it. You just have to be able to figure out which house is the 9th house in whole sign, and then what the ruler is, which I teach you how to do, and then what the aspects are. And I just tell you what they mean, so you don't have to interpret them yourself. Okay, so there's a link below for that. And back to the comments. We have Misbehaving says, had a very weird week with the transit. My surgery was meant to be on the 16th and now rescheduled till September. Your landlord asked for a meeting. But canceled till next Wednesday. Oh no. Well, I hope that ends up being okay. Nice to be here. Hello. Nice to see you here. Nice to see everyone in the comments and on the channel. I'm going to try to turn down my volume because I think it's sounding kind of weird. We'll see if that helps. And, okay, so let's do it. Let's go through today and talk about what it means for Mars to enter Gemini. So the good thing about Mars entering Gemini, and I meant to do this, not that. So the good thing about Mars entering Gemini is that Mars is going to speed up a bit. All right. And Mars likes to go fast. Okay. So Gemini also likes to go fast, but the problem with Mars and Gemini, as far as what we experience or where they're not compatible, is that Mars wants to go focused for one thing and Gemini wants to go everywhere at one time. And so sometimes Mars can't do as much in Gemini because when you start 27 things and you take one step forward on all 27, well, you don't get as far. So just like Jupiter and Gemini, we have to kind of be aware of at least what our priority is. So I wouldn't say you can't do a bunch of stuff when Mars is in Gemini because that's exactly what you're going to want to do. But I would say that it's prioritizing the actual priority and not getting distracted by the distractions. Another good thing about Mars being in Gemini right now is that Jupiter is also in Gemini. So Jupiter will make the experience of Mars here better. And it almost kind of powers let me think about this. I want to see, I should have this memorized, but I'm looking up when Jupiter entered Gemini. I don't remember these things. May 25th. So I would say think from May 25th until now. Think about what you've been wanting to create, start, do, or add. Or organize in your Gemini house. And how maybe the stuff that you haven't had the energy for. Now Mars comes in and gives us the energy to do all the solutions we've been seeing, right? Because Jupiter will help us see the solutions in the area, but it won't necessarily, Jupiter's always going to make it better. But Mars is powers the engine. So I think having Mars and Jupiter and Gemini at the same time is going to be really good for that house in our chart. Because Mars will just really not aggravate, really activate Jupiter and really just kind of put the pressure on Jupiter and put the energy there. Okay, let me see what else you guys are saying in the chat. Oh, Alexandra, you broke your toe. Forced me to relax. Oh, and your husband hurt his back. Man, you guys are both getting bedridden. And Alexandra says maybe that was the lesson, learning what to do and not to do. Virgo Mars, stellium, ninth house stellium. Square, this is square to transit. I'm all about the details, not prioritizing big picture. And then, yeah, okay. So back to Mars and Gemini, speeding things up, giving Jupiter power to impart or enact the solutions in that Gemini house. And I really think that's what we're going to see. So think about ways you've been wanting to solve problems in your Gemini house. And if you don't know what that is, I think I did. Let me see. Did I do a video on Jupiter entering Gemini? I did. Yeah, I remember. So if you haven't seen that video, I would say it would pair very nicely with this one because Jupiter and Mars are in Gemini. So it'll just kind of give you more idea of what Jupiter's going to solve, what problems Jupiter's going to solve. And now Mars is going to just, like I said, bring energy to that ability to problem solve. It's like you now are freed up to solve the problem, where before maybe it was getting into the possibility of what would need to be done to solve the problem kind of a thing, or starting a project that would be the solution. Now it's like, make the project happen, really push it forward. So I like that. I like that for us. And let's go ahead and go into the chart and let's go into the astrology. Let me get it up here. And like I said, Mars did just enter Gemini. So we're talking about right now. And let me see, let me see, when does Mars is going to stay in Gemini? I'm trying to figure out when, until October. No, that's wrong. Maybe that's right. Let's just look. Let's just look it up because I have the chart here. Maybe it is October. No, it can't be that long. I would think it's like September. We're just going to do it the old-fashioned way. I probably wrote this down somewhere that I don't have. Yeah, September 3rd, 4th. So we have a good over a month of Mars being in Gemini. So it's going to be with us for a while. And that's how long we have to kind of work with that extra oomph in our Gemini house, but also that extra, sometimes Mars adds an element of challenge, right? So sometimes Mars does energize things, but it doesn't have a limit. And so sometimes energy is like people getting pissed at you, right? Sometimes energy is anger. Sometimes it's conflict. And it can also bring a need to cut things off in the house that Mars is going to be. So it could be a need to pare down certain things so other things can grow. So it's almost like we're pruning our Gemini house while at the same time giving it fertilizer. All right. So let's get into the actual readings here. And let's do that. Let me get our chart ready. Had it ready and then I messed with it. Back to today. We're going to go from Aries all the way to Pisces, like always. All right, so this is ready. And yes, here we go. I need my timer. Okay, for Aries, Mars is Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Mars is in the 3rd house of Gemini. So it's stimulating things related to your third house, which is like the need to go more places in your local environment. So you could be busier, you could be driving faster, through your neighborhood or something, or you could have more stops to make, like on your way home. It's like you got to go to the post office more, or you got to, hold on, I see a comment I think I want to answer here. Charm is asking, when you watch a video for your moon or ascendant, should you apply the house for that sign as described? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for asking. Someone else asked me this recently. So when you're watching it for your ascendant, it's going to be the houses that are in your chart, right? So right now I have it on Aries rising. So anyone who's in Aries rising, when I say Mars is in your third house, that's going to be in your third house. But let's say you're an Aries sun and you're like a Virgo rising. Well, then when I say third house, you're like, wait, that's not my third house, but it is the third house from your sun if you're watching it for your sun. If you're Aries moon, then Gemini is the third house from your moon. So yes, you should not try to combine it. So that should answer that. Perfect question. Thank you for asking. Now we'll just start over with Aries here. So for Aries, sun, moon, and rising, we have Mars just entered your third house of siblings, of your local environment, your car, your driving, your communication, conversations, and it's in Gemini, which is very chatty anyway. So Aries, during this time, you might be pretty chatty. You might be talking a lot. You might be like busy, writing something, sending an email. And the kind of busy that this feels to me is like when you're busy doing a million things at once, right? Like you're DMing someone on Instagram while you're writing a script, and then at the same time, someone's calling you. It's that kind of multitasking type busy where you're flipping back and forth, or you're not writing a novel when Mars is in your third house. You're writing a song, or you're writing a poem, or you're writing a Instagram post or a Twitter post, something quick, sharp, to the point, and you're done with it. So it's not a, encyclopedia of Britannica that you're writing. If you're writing stuff, it's short and sweet, quick things that you can quickly write, quickly produce, and quickly move on to the next thing. So let's talk about the sibling side of this. Now, I guess let's zoom out actually first. Jupiter is making your third house better. So it's making these topics better. Communication, writing, your local environment. Maybe there's a new store you like to stop at that wasn't there before. Maybe there was construction, now it's not. Maybe you got a neighbor you really like, or you got a roommate that's cool, or, someone's house sitting or watching your property if you live on property, or, I don't know, maybe the neighbor got a horse and you love horses, right? Jupiter rules horses. It could be a million other things. But the idea here is that something about your local environment, Jupiter is making it better. And if you're someone who writes or speaks or creates, teaches elementary school, or communicates for your work, or sends emails for work or something like that, then Jupiter is making that better. If you have siblings that are a part of your life right now, Jupiter might be making that better. But when Mars is here, you get in fights with each other, or, it's just like they're demanding a lot from you, because Mars can also be who's demanding shit from you right now at any given moment. And in the third house, it's your siblings or your cousins. Now, that's only true if those people are a strong part of your life. And sometimes the way that Mars influences you is more like, the sister or brother who's like, you got to do it. Sometimes they're like direct and to the point, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Other times they're being assholes. It just depends. So what else can be happening? Mars is stimulating Jupiter's desire to solve third house problems for Aries is right now. So that's your car. That's your driving. That's your commute. That's all the places you stop on your way home. So it might be like finding a new foreign grocery store where you get lentils. And it's like right there in your neighborhood, or you're driving a little bit further to go get it, but it's like totally worth it. Or, other stuff like this. It's like, okay, now there's football or there's baseball at this park that I normally drive by, so we're going to go a different route. Okay, so Mars is stimulating Jupiter to solve third house problems. And again, if third house, writing, communication, stuff like that, is something that's a big deal in your life, well, if you love reading books, Jupiter is going to make you want to read all the books, and you want to switch back and forth. You don't want to read one big, huge one. You want to read a million little pieces of a bunch of different books, and Mars will make you want to just do it more. It's also possible sometime during this transit, there is a cutting off of something related to the third house. So it could be like your siblings getting a little too demanding and you have to tell them to stop. It could be that you were writing emails and now you're going to stop. So even though Mars can stimulate third house stuff, it might there might be a stop to some of it. Now let's say, actually we have to think about what Mars rules. I totally forgot about that for Aries. So it's you're in the third house, you're writing, you're driving around all over, you're delivering packages, you're picking up stuff at the post office, right? You're going to be busier during this transit usually. And also it rules your 8th house of other people's resources. So some of you might be busier if you are someone who deals with people's money for your work, like you're an accountant or something. This would be the time of even though this is not tax season, this would be just maybe a time at your job where that requires a lot more focus. But one of the things, now that's not everybody. For everybody, it's like intimacy comes into your third house from that 8th house ruler. So it's like the conversations you're having might become more intimate. They might be, you might go from like chit-chatting someone to going deeper with them, someone you've already been chit-chatting with who you see on a regular basis. That could be a nice thing. And also we got to consider Jupiter rules your 12th house, but it also rules your 9th house. So Mars is stimulating your 12th and 9th house and your 3rd house. Aries are going to be going nuts, buying spiritual books, joining a spiritual course, trying to figure out their life path, wanting life to be more meaningful, reading or listening to podcasts on the meaning of life, and just going to your Buddhist temples in your local environment, something like that going on. So that looks like a real positive for me, for those Aries out there who, it's just like it's going to stimulate your mind, and I like that for you guys. So if you want more on this, I recommend watching that Jupiter and Gemini video, because it's going to tell you a little bit more about just the Jupiter side of things, which go on till next spring anyway. So let's go on now to our next sign, which is going to be our Tauruses. For Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising, Mars is stimulating your 2nd house of money. Taurus, listen to me. Do not go spending all your money. This is the hardest thing when Mars goes through your 2nd house, is to not spend all your damn money, because it just burns a hole in your pocket and you can't help it. And because it's in Gemini, it's like you're not even going to spend it on anything good. You'll just waste it on a bunch of shit. Like, it's like you ever see those, like, I don't know, those things you can buy off Amazon that's like, it's a little mini fan for your desk, or, junk, stuff that's like total junk that nobody needs. Tauruses need to watch out. They're not buying a bunch of junk right now. It's not the only side of the transit. Sometimes Mars will speed up your desire to make money. So some Tauruses might be working overtime and getting paid more, and you're getting more, but you got to watch out that you don't just go spend it. You really do with this. Mars also rules your 12th house and your 7th house. So some Tauruses could be getting money from a partner that they just waste. At this point, I'm just trolling you guys, but no, you could be getting money from a partner. Especially if you're in a relationship where that makes sense, because it's the 7th ruler in the 2nd, and that literally means your partner gives you money. It could be for some Tauruses, that's because you're in a phase of life where that's what you've agreed on, and that makes sense. But for others, it could just be your partner buys you a bunch of stuff. right? Because the second house is also your things, down to the food in your own fridge. Your partner could just go fill the fridge with food. That's a way that can manifest. But it does put more focus on the finances, and it puts a little bit of focus too on defending it, like defending your money or defending your stuff. So I don't think Tauruses are all going to put a fence around their house right now, but there might be something going on where maybe you do buy something that you want to get insurance on, or maybe there is a focus on like protecting certain assets right now. Maybe that's just a normal focus in your life at the time. So that could be what is happening for Tauruses. Either way, Mars is speeding up your money. There's a desire. There could be, with the trine to Pluto right now as well, there could be a desire to figure out the root cause of what's not authentic in your career and make money in a more authentic way. Some Tauruses might be starting side hustles right now where it's like the desire to make money outside of your job, especially if you don't like it, is strong at this time. So yeah, that's what I have for that. Okay, and going on to the next sign, we've got, that's going to be our Geminis. Okay, so for Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising, we've got Mars entering the first house, which is you. Usually you're busier and you're doing more physical stuff because the first house is your body. So it's like your body is moving more. Your body is doing more. So it's not just doing more. It's like moving where you have to pack all the boxes, or doing more of a certain martial art or a certain exercise, or going hiking more, or doing anything that makes you physically more active. It could be for exercise or it could be not. Now, Mars in the first house also can make you busier, is probably the most important, but it can also make you more kind of antsy about your life direction. And because Jupiter is in the first, it's a good time to find new opportunities for growth in general in life, and ways to kind of do the next thing you want to do, ways to do the next thing in your job, or ways to make your relationship better, ways to grow your business or whatever you're doing. But Mars in the first, maybe it's like now you start implementing something you've wanted to do since March when Jupiter entered Gemini. No, that wasn't March. I just looked this up. May 25th. But it could also be like now you start implementing it. So if you're a Gemini who's been looking up a side hustle since May, then now maybe you're like, okay, we're doing the side hustle, or something else like that. It could also be like you're wanting to move, you just do more overtime. You do a second thing that you normally, you have something on the side of what you normally do that you're busy doing. That's kind of the overall general gist of it. Now, Mars rules your 11th house and it rules your 6th house. So it could be work that you're doing. It could be something around the house where something broke and now you're trying to fix that after work, or maybe something didn't break. Maybe you just wanted to paint one of the rooms. So now you're painting after work or something, so it doesn't have to be something awful that is a horrible problem. But it can be something that involves an element of challenge, right? So that challenge can be a good thing. Sometimes it can be like a fun challenge. Okay. So then, what else? The Mars is also your 11th ruler. So the 11th house is like your friends, your audience, your people you are around in public, your social life. And having that be in the first can also be maybe your friends are influencing you to do more stuff. It could be like your friends are like, come hiking with us, it's stuff like that. Yeah, it can be something like that where your friends influence you, or people around you influence you to do more. And maybe because there's some jealousy and competition going on where it's like you got to outdo someone, or they're like, join this thing with me, join this challenge with me, or something like that. So that could be part of what's happening for Geminis as well. I do think for everyone, we have to watch out we're not getting distracted on this one and going a million places at once. I think of someone who like wants to start a business and they're watching like 27 videos on 27 different types of business. Like it's easy to kind of go all over the place with this one. And also we can consider that Jupiter rules your 10th house and it also rules your 7th house. So for some Geminis, there's something going on with relationship stuff that is maybe Mars is speeding that up. So if you want to be with someone and you're not with them, Mars might be speeding that up. If you want to, if you're with someone already, Mars might be bringing some heat, and that can be passion or it can be fighting with your partner. That could happen. That could actually happen. Or it could just be stimulating the relationship, like, because Jupiter in the first means if you are in a relationship, you're going to identify as that. I am with this person. And Mars is going to stimulate that more. I'm with this person. I'm with this, it's like, it makes it louder, more important to you. Really exploring your identity in terms of who you are with or who you are friends with or who you are collaborating with. So yes, that is what I have for Geminis. Let's go on to the next sign, which is going to be our Cancers. So the chart is set up. I have to do something really quick here. And then we'll go through Cancer. Nice for meditating and getting connected to your spirituality and, overall just connecting with learning about where you self-sabotage, seeing your hidden problems, especially related to Jupiter stuff, which for you is like spirituality and work and like, seeing, how do I put it? Personal growth through quietude and contemplation is really what I'm feeling when I put it all together. Especially, the ninth house being like the house of God, right? So God, the universe, is in your 12th house of privacy. So it's like you find God in quiet right now. You find God by yourself right now. And replace that word if you want to. But Mars speeds that up. So it's almost like your prayers can be louder or more answered quickly or more something like that. Now, if you're someone who does like lights a candle and like makes an offering to like the planets and stuff or like goddesses and stuff, Mars can make you just really want to do that more. If not, then Jupiter in the 12th can be solving invisible problems. So that's getting sober. That's dealing with mental illness for some people. I'm not diagnosing that. It can be helping yourself or someone else go through the dark night of the soul spiritually. And Mars stimulates that. So like you really want to help all the suffering people. 12th house is the suffering people. It's the people who suffer and you can't, like, people who suffer from those internal psychological problems. So if you're someone who does that for a living or something, that's going to be stronger. Now, Mars also rules your 10th house. So for some Cancers, the transit of Mars through Gemini is them working behind the scenes. And it might feel more meaningful since Jupiter rules that 9th house. So that might be nice. It might be Cancers might get a break from whatever they normally do, or their work becomes more private in some way or more one-on-one in some way. And what else do I think Mars in the 12th will do? Sometimes Mars in the 12th especially if it's a natal transit, is going to be anger. Anger, but you don't know where it comes from. Now, I'm not saying all Cancers have that, but maybe let's just say if you already have that, right? If you already don't know why you're angry, then Mars going through the 12th is going to really stimulate that. The whole like maybe becoming aware of repressed anger or going over the past and seeing events that made you angry in the past. But for a lot of people, the more regular side of this transit is your work becomes more private. You do more work behind the scenes. You have a second role behind the scenes that nobody sees. That is something that you're, invested in and spending your time on. So that is that for Cancers. And let's go on now to the sign of Leo. So for Mars in Gemini for Leos, we have it in your 11th house of hopes and dreams, friends, social life, with Jupiter here. Okay, so Jupiter, the 5th ruler in the 11th, is like taking your creativity and making it public. But it can also be, Jupiter in the 11th can just be a time where you're like socializing, you're meeting new people, you're networking, or you're focus on growing your social media. Mars stimulates that. If you want to go viral, Leo, now is a good time to at least try to be putting out viral content. I'm not saying you will definitely, but Jupiter only goes through the 11th house once every 12 years. And then Mars is only going to be here for like 6 weeks or something. So it's a time to consciously direct that energy toward the growth that you want to have, either in your social networks or in your actual social life, right? If you want to network and meet more people, and especially because Mars rules your 9th house, maybe you want to go to a new spiritual center or do some kind of, temple work or something, or breath work, or anything that you consider your path to spirituality. This would be a time where you're really trying all the things or doing all the things in all the groups or just adding one that you didn't do before to maybe attract love, or to just heal, or to just feel like you're moving forward on your path. And Mars also rules for Leo, the 4th house of home. So the 4th house ruler in the 11th house can what it can actually do is it can, and I wonder for you guys if when Mars hit last Tuesday or so, if there was some kind of family blow up that became public, because what Mars will do at the top of the chart, it'll make that thing more public. So a family conflict maybe suddenly became more public. And public doesn't have to be on, famous. It could just be like did the sound fix? I'll check the sound here in a second. So yeah, it doesn't have to be famous public. It could just be like you were at the dinner party and your sister said something and then everyone knew about the conflict. And I don't know what the conflict was, right? Because that's maybe not everyone has one. I'm going to have to go check the sound, and then I'll talk more about Leo. Let's just make sure. Someone's saying it works now. Thank you, guys. Sorry, it's just going to take me a second here. Okay, yeah. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so going back to Leo's reading on Mars. Mars being in that 11th house. Some of you could possibly sever or cut off a group of people Or people in it, like let's say you have a group of friends, you guys could all decide, we don't want this person in the group. You could stop doing something related to a certain social media platform, or you could stop going to a certain place where you see certain people for any reason. Yeah, you might. Sometimes when Mars goes through the 11th, it's like people in your network, it's not like they're all going to get pissed at you, but there's more potential that someone in your network could be like mad at you, or, just maybe not even mad, maybe just like kind of challenging you on something or something like that. Especially if you're like teaching in a group at this time, that's when you're likely to get someone who wants to challenge you on something, or, just kind of be an asshole a little bit. But it doesn't seem like a big deal. Mars is going to stimulate Jupiter's desire to have more friends, to be spiritual, to be on your spiritual path. That's actually Mars's desire, right? Is to be on your spiritual path. But Jupiter wants to learn all the things from all the different classes and all the different people. Mars is going to stimulate your desire to grow your audience if you have one, to grow your income, right? To grow your income from the work you've already done, especially. And it's also probably going to make you more social. So you could just be doing a lot, really busy, going to a lot of social events, or really busy, doing something public, being seen, making an appearance places. Now, for some, that might be like your work requires you to work with groups. So it might not be like going to parties and stuff. It might be like in your work, you have to lead the meetings or something, but that doesn't feel as likely as just like going to exercise in a group or something, like starting to do yoga or starting to do spinning or something. Okay, so basically Mars is going to speed up Leo's 11th house of friends, networking, doing stuff with other people. It seems like a good time. It's summer. Going hiking with the groups, doing stuff that's fun and outdoorsy, going camping, it could really just be that. So that's what I've got for Leos. And we're going to go on now to the next sign, which is going to be our Virgos. Virgo, Mars enters Gemini and goes into your 10th house, which means if you were feeling stressed about your spiritual path or direction, that stress might alleviate because Mars is now out of that 9th house. Or like worried about traveling or something, it doesn't mean you solved the problem, but just the intensity might fade down a bit. But now Mars is going to stimulate Jupiter and Gemini, which is all about having a side job or, doing for some people, Mars entering Gemini could possibly cut off one stream of income. And that could be intentional or not. Now, that's not true for everyone, but I think that's going to be more true if you already had 2 or more streams of income. And it's like, because Jupiter wants to grow that 10th house, and it's almost like Virgos might be like, we got to cut down. It's almost like, I think I said this at the beginning. It's like you're pruning the tree of work so that only the stuff you want to grow grows. Okay, so that's what Mars is going to do during this time. Is going to help you prune the tree of your work. That could be work you're doing that isn't making a difference. That could be quitting a job that is like not making enough money. That could be if you let's say you have a business, really getting clear on your role and like getting other people in roles that you don't need to be doing. It can be just, getting clear on your time and stopping time wasters. It can be just going more directly after your work and career goals. Jupiter already wants to help you with this, and Mars is going to stimulate Jupiter. And with Jupiter being the 7th house ruler, it kind of does feel like there might be help from others to solve problems. It might be useful to rely on people or to work together with people to grow or solve problems in career. And something about your home life might also have some either stress or some challenges going on with it that are becoming more visible to other people because home life is Jupiter. So Jupiter's there in the 10th house being highlighted, being seen, right? So it's there at the top of the chart, more visible. And it doesn't mean you're more visible, but like the challenges you're having with your home or family dynamics would become more clear to others at this time. If there aren't, it's just the good things. It could be the good things about your home are more visible and becoming clear to others at this time too. Like you put a picture of it on social media or something and everyone's like, nice house, right? So it doesn't have to be anything bad. But Jupiter does feel like you want to grow in your 10th house, and you may have been having some solution ideas since I keep saying May 25th. And that now Mars is here with the power, like to power some of those ideas and really push them through and get them out going. So it does feel like a time where you might be putting a lot more energy toward your work life, because Mars is like what we're doing, right? It's where we're taking the most action. It's the area of life that's kind of most stimulated. And it's possible that the action involves, again, that cutting activity of like, there's two things, now there's one. We were doing too much, so now we're paring down to focus only on what we want to grow. And let me think of what else I can think of for Virgos in Mars being here. I think it can be overall good. There might be more energy necessary to try to direct your energy toward the things you really want to be doing. And because Venus is in the 12th house right now, it's about to sextile Jupiter, which is nice. So it's nice to be doing things that you want to grow right now. But when your money planet's in the 12th, sometimes that's a time where you just don't have as much money, or you've lost a little bit on something, or, there's a potential for your income to not quite be where you want it to be. But that ends on, I think it's like the 5th of August. So I feel like right now, maybe you're ramping up to do something that maybe the real money, you're not going to see a lot of the real money until then. But it may not be exactly that. I think it's possible too that once Mars hits Jupiter, and I'm going to mess the chart up to see when that happens. It's not until it looks like, let's see, around August 13th, 14th. So it's possible, now I got to get the chart back to where it was, that on August 13th, 14th, you might be having a change to your residence. Oh, shoot. I don't know where I am. Hold on. Yeah, so it's possible August 13th, 14th, you could have a change to your residence, or decide to move, or stop. If you're in a relationship, stop seeing someone, end a partnership with someone, end a friendship around 14th, 15th. So just keep that in mind, because whatever that is, there's a potential that it could actually be kind of visible, and I'm not sure how exactly that would happen, but it just, maybe you need to move, and that's when you decide and you put in your notice and you find the place. Or some kind of other more serious kind of change happens to the home when Mars hits Jupiter, because that's like a severing of something. Okay, we are going to do the other 6 signs, and I'm going to take a quick break. So I'll leave the chart up so you guys can see it, and I will be back. Okay, we're back. Let me get all situated here. And we are ready for round 2. And by round 2, I mean the signs from Libra to Pisces. So, we're going to start. We're going to start with Libras. So for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising, we have Mars in your 9th house, entering your 9th house of Gemini. So this will stimulate your desire to feel like you're on the right path, especially with Jupiter here. But I know 9th house transits, they just sound so wonderful, right? Because it's like the 9th house, and it's like the path to God, and it's like spirituality. But in reality, what happens is you just question everything and you wonder if you're even on the right path. And like, what is the right path? It brings up more questions about the path. So Libras might be seeking answers right now. And if you are, you can always get my course on the 9th house, which might help give you some. But you might be seeking answers about what spirituality means and, what it means in your relationships, or what is the most aligned work, that where you can feel like you're really connected to the universe while still doing it. What job you don't feel like you're selling your soul at. Stuff like that can be going on. Mars stimulating the 9th house could also, you could just be studying more. Some Libras can be like in school, in college, studying for something important. And that Mars entering today on the 20th might have to do with that needing to ramp up. So maybe you have a big test on the 18th, 16th, 15th, 14th, and you got of August, and you got to study now so you make sure you pass it, Who knows? Maybe some Libras out there are studying for something like the bar exam or the I want to say SATs, but I don't think most of you are that young, but maybe one of you is. That's cool. I'm trying to think of other ways this 9th house Mars can be showing up. Well, it can also make you more needing to defend your beliefs. Okay, so sometimes natally police officers will have this, Mars in the 9th. Defending the law. But you might be defending your beliefs, which means you might have people debating with you and stuff, or, telling you what you believe is wrong, or you might be in like a healthy debate where it's like, oh, let's have this fun conversation about it. It could be that. You might be more preachy right now. You might be the one trying to impart your beliefs on other people and telling people why they need to vote a certain way or have this certain religion or something. Or something else, but something you really feel strongly about, you might be really speaking about that and talking about it with people and wanting to be heard and make sure your opinion is heard. Some Libras out there, who knows, maybe you're just reading a lot of books, because like that 9th house is like, it rules publishing. So if you're an author, this would be you wanting to write a book maybe. But if you're not, it could be you reading books, reading spiritual information, taking in spiritual information and being very, very ambitious about how much you want to learn. So again, it could be learning for like higher education. It could be testing for that. It could be studying a lot, but it's really going to stimulate your desire to kind of like go on the quest of life and do things that are meaningful. So if you have not been having that, this will be a time where it's like, what am I going to do differently? But if you have been having that, then it's just going to want to push it forward. Maybe you learned something. Now you want to do the next level of the course that's like spiritual, or maybe, something else. But Mars in the 9th is actually another reason this one is good is because it doesn't have as much power. So the 9th house is a Cadent house, and it is, I always confuse myself with Cadent and Succeedent. Yes. Okay. So the Cadent houses are, and every time I'm right, but I always question it, are the 3rd, 6th, 9th, and 12th. They're the houses that are least powerful in terms of how much like power that planet has, which means when Mars is transiting through your 9th house, it can't mess as much stuff up. So that's a good thing about the Mars 9th house transit. All right. We're going to go to the next sign, which is going to be Scorpios. Scorpios have got this in their 8th house. So Mars in the 8th. For anyone who has heard the stereotype of it being death, it's not quite like that. So don't think Mars going through your 8th house means people die. Mars in the 8th can stimulate your desire to be intimate or to be closer to people. It can stimulate your desire to invest money or pay off taxes or pay off debt. It can, it's other people's money, so it can stimulate your desire if you work in a field where you deal with like accounting or finance or something, maybe, or you have shared investments with people, or you have income from like royalties or something where it's like you're not the only one involved, then Mars might bring that up a little bit more. If a bunch of people owe you money, maybe you'll get some of it with Mars stimulating, but this is more like you beating down their door to get it, which I don't mean you should. But it does bring a shared quality to, especially to your work and your problem solving, because Mars rules that 6th house of like your schedule, your diet, your work. And so maybe who knows, maybe you're like, I don't know. I don't know what this looks like. I think of like people who do like share meals, right? Where it's like maybe you and a partner or a gym buddy or somebody, like today they're going to make the chicken and broccoli and tomorrow you're going to make it. Or something like that, where through combined efforts, problems are solved like that. And let me think, because Jupiter is here, bringing growth to your 8th house of like other people's money. If you're a Scorpio and your partner makes the money, then they're maybe just busy making money or making a lot of it or something. Because it can just be that. Sometimes it's the planets are not always you. Don't call Scorpio scary. I know the look on their faces can be, but still. What else, guys? Okay, so as far as like the death thing, like what's a stereotype? It's other people. It's more likely like maybe your friend's dog dies and they call you during this transit or something like that. If it is, because it's like Mars is what your 8th house is what other people are bringing to you. So Jupiter, other people can help you solve problems, especially with communication and stuff right now with Jupiter here. And Mars, other people are going to bring you their crises. So starting today, the 20th of July, you might find your friends are having more crises that they call you about, and maybe as Mars goes through there and makes that conjunction, there is a big one that a friend has. I mean, that could be how that shows up, is like one of your friends' parents, passes away. I mean, I don't want that to happen, but it could be something like that. It could be something where now someone else's crisis doesn't have to be somebody dying. It could be they're like, I'm trying to get sober and I'm flipping out right now and I want to drink and I need your help, right? So it's more likely you will experience a friend who has some kind of psychological stuff going on they want you to help them with. And grief is one of those things it could be. Otherwise, Scorpio, I would say this just might speed up your desire to make you antsy to like pay off some debts. And it's possible if you're dating someone and it's getting close right now and there's problems happening, I would think maybe towards the 14th of August-ish, maybe there will be an ending of that, like a cutting off of a relationship. But I don't feel that for everyone. What can I see here? It really does just say over and over, solving problems through shared resources. That and like maybe working with others right now. Maybe at work there's more need to rely on others, or sometimes you have to wait for the other person to do their part and then you do your part, kind of stuff. That can be happening as well for Scorpios. So we're going to move on because I just ran out of stuff to say. And the next sign is going to be Sagittarius. So for Sagittarius, Mars is going through your 7th house of relationships. Sometimes if you're in a relationship, you end up bickering more, fighting a bit more with your partner during this time. It doesn't always have to be knockdown dragouts, but it does tend to bring up little conflicts, just pain in the ass stuff. Sometimes your partner is nagging you. Sometimes you're nagging them. Now, if you're not in a relationship and you have one-on-one clients, it could stimulate your one-on-one clients. And, think about what you were feeling in May 25th, when Jupiter entered your 7th house. And what were you doing, or what were you thinking about fixing or improving related to your relationships? Were you thinking of making more friends in a certain area? Were you thinking of something with your actual partner? If you're single, were you thinking about going on a dating site or something? Maybe Mars is going to help you actually do it now. You can be more active with your partner. If you're in a relationship, you guys can go to the gym together, work out together, move furniture. Just doing physical stuff together can be a thing that happens. Also, Mars rules your 5th house of pleasure, so you could meet someone. I mean, this is not a guarantee because it's Mars. But, Jupiter in the 7th house with Mars stimulating it can bring the desire for partnership. And, the Mars rules the 5th house of romance and crushes and love. So you might develop a crush on someone or fall for someone, or they might fall for you or something. Sometimes Mars can be someone who's like pursuing you. But if it's Mars, usually that person is a little bit more Martian. So like they're in the military, or they're an athlete, or they're not warm and fuzzy. They're short and to the point. Not short physically, but like, direct. You could cut off, if you're in a 3-way thing, you could cut off a side piece or something. I mean, that's not going to be most of you, but maybe someone out there. And overall, stimulating relationships. So how could you work with this energy? Well, it would be a good time to just make friends and meet people. And I wouldn't say Mars in the 7th is always a good time to have a partnership start, because it's like, sometimes it'll be, it brings conflict. So like, if you're a Sag who is trying to date and you're like, man, everyone turned into a jerk after the 20th. Well, maybe that's Mars's influence. It kind of depends on what it does in your chart. It might not be that bad. It could just make you want a relationship more. It could make you ready to start flirting. I would say try it. And if you get a bunch of jerks, well, then maybe wait. But like, it's Jupiter. Jupiter will make it better, right? And so Jupiter's helping make your relationship stuff better. So if you're single and you're not doing anything, now's the time to get some energy going and move that energy and try to start talking to people, or try to start putting yourself out there, because there's potential for good things here, but not if you don't do anything, right? You might have to do something in order to see some of that stuff happen. And also Jupiter rules your home. So it could be that when it comes to your home life, there's more possibility for friendship with the people you live with or people you live around, or there's something combining your love life and your home life. I don't think it would be like moving in with your partner. Actually, that's a possibility. That is a possibility. Not a crush, but like an actual like committed thing. That is possible. But overall, there's possibilities in relationship right now, and Mars is stimulating those. So a good time to just kind of chit chat with people and have conversations and see where people are coming from and get to know them and network. So we're going to move on now to the next sign, which is going to be for the Capricorns. So for you guys, it's Mars is in the 6th house. This makes work more busy. This makes you more busy. You have more shit to do when Mars is in your 6th house. You have more problems to solve. The 6th house is the joy of Mars. Mars loves problems. Mars loves conflict. So what do you get when Mars is in the 6th house? It's like your window breaks and you got to fix it. Or, shit like that, where it's like your car has trouble, you got to fix the car, Or, I don't want to predict a bunch of negative stuff. What you can do with this, with Mars in the 6th, is you can get busy on the stuff you want to be getting busy on. You might have to, though. It's like you might have to work overtime. You might not have a choice, and you might not need to do anything to work with it. Mars just might be bringing you more work to do because of some kind of problem, or just because it's the time of season of busy, And it's with Jupiter in the 6th, sometimes that brings you more work to do. But sometimes Jupiter in the 6th can be problems that are solved through other people. Like someone gives you a solution to a problem. So Mars stimulating Jupiter, look for ways, look for that in your life, I would say. Look for ways people are helping you that eases your burdens in life, because those options might be there. You might have a neighbor who brings you a pie, or you might have someone needs a house sitter and you get free rent for a little bit, or, something else like that, where it's someone somehow, or a sibling, especially a sibling or a neighbor, somehow help, ease your burdens. Now there's potential. It's possible to have conflicts with neighbors with this one because Jupiter rules your 3rd house and Saturn's there. But I would say that's probably more likely going to happen August 14th-ish, mid-August, when Mars gets to Jupiter. But I wouldn't worry too much about that. I think this will it'll make you busy. It'll make you want to do a million things at a time in your work. You'll have just lots and lots of little tasks to be multitasking. And so if that's something you've been wanting because you want to make more money or because you need the overtime, then I would say this is probably going to be great for you. And if it's something you don't want, then Jupiter might help you find solutions to, I don't want to say be less busy, because I don't think it'll be that simple, but to the problem of being so busy. Okay, so that's really what it is for Capricorn. It's a busy time with Mars in the 6th. Okay, going on to the next one, which is going to be, I see someone's comment here. Let's see it. Busy indeed. Multitasking next level. August 14th, noted. Awesome. All right, so let's go on to our next sign, which is going to be the Aquariuses. So here we go. For Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, we've got Mars in your 5th house. Mars is in the fun house. So if you haven't gotten laid in a while, you might want to. And that's kind of the first thing I think of. Mars in the 5th makes you also have fun in bed. If you have this natally, usually it's like wherever you have Mars, you have an appetite for that thing. You want it a lot. So if that is happening, Aquarius, nothing's wrong with you. It's just a normal part of that transit. You might also want to have fun a lot. Jupiter's here bringing more solutions and ideas for how to have fun, what to go do with your friends. Let's go camping. Let's go hiking. Let's go play video games. And then Mars is here saying, now that we have all these ideas, let's actually do it. Let's plan the camping trip. Let's make it happen. With the neighbors or with the friends or whatever. And so I like this one because what you're busy doing is having actual fun. You're dating, you're flirting, you're, creating romance with your current partner that you already have, which, by the way, right now is a really good time for that. Sunday would be a nice date day if you're in a relationship. And I just like this so much for you because it's really all about enjoying your life. Now, Mars also does rule your 10th house. So when it comes to work, you might be busy multitasking and having a lot to do, but it feels like it's a refreshing kind of a busy. It feels like it's like you get to do something else on the side of your work, and it's like more interesting and different than it normally is, or you're starting a second project on top of what you normally do. Jupiter's helping it grow, and it's almost like maybe you've been thinking about another creative thing, or another or dating on the side of work or something. And it's like Mars is going to help you push your ideas through when it comes to launching something new, something with your self-employment. If you are someone who gambles, you might be wanting to gamble a lot right now. I'm not saying you should, but the 5th house does rule gambling and, just pleasure. So this is a pleasure-seeking time, as long as you're not going to overdo it. I see this as pretty positive for Aquariuses. So we're going to go on to the next sign, which is our Pisces. So for Pisces, Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising, Mars will be in that 4th house of home. So this can stimulate a need for action in the home. Sometimes it's something that is intentional, like you want to rearrange your furniture. You want to take everything out and clean it. You want to be outside and in the garden and like planting stuff, or going swimming, or just from the second you get home till you go to bed, you're doing shit, and maybe it's stuff you want to do. Maybe it's a little bit of chores and cleaning. It could be a variety of different things, but it's being busy at home, being busy installing something, or putting furniture together, or cooking food, or, doing exercise, working out at home. You could just buy some weights and start lifting some weights at home or something, or multitasking and doing that while you're listening to your favorite, spiritual podcast or something. So this feels fine for that. Sometimes it increases little pain in the ass problems at home. So sometimes this is why you're busy, because your faucet got fucked up. You got to put in a new one, or like something fell, now you got to fix it or replace it, or, stuff like that, where it's these little, annoyances that have to be dealt with in the home. That can be another thing that happens when Mars goes through the 4th house. I see a lot of people who are just like moving furniture and they're rearranging, and that's literally what it is. I guess some Pisces, if you want to move, you might be considering that. You might be considering where you're going to move, trying to figure it out. Especially with Jupiter here, making it better. If you want to move, Jupiter will help you find a new place, and Mars might stimulate your desire to look. Now that might be because some problem that you like, the reason for moving gets bigger, or there's something that happens that makes you want to move. Like someone moves in and they're a jerk and you have roommates, or like you wanted to move before because, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, I can't think of anything, because your neighbors are loud, now they're louder, right? Or something like that, where it's like, this especially applies if you already wanted to move. If you already wanted to do something new, then it's like, well, now you really want to, if that makes sense. For some of you, though, it's like there's almost like a second home energy here, where it's not like maybe some of you start, when you're dating someone, and then like you start leaving your toothbrush there, and then it's like, you sort of have a second home. Maybe some Pisces have a second home right now, where it's like somewhere you're always at that isn't your house, or something like that. That's a possibility too. Let's see. Mars rules your money house. Some Pisces are putting money into a home. This could be something like a down payment, or like a down payment, or what do you call it when it's like a deposit? Like you really are moving. This is the deposit. Others, maybe you have to pay a bill or something, or you're investing in something that will make your house nicer, make it more whatever you want, like buying furniture, like buying anything for your house. And then where's Scorpio? Ninth house. Okay, ninth house ruler in the fourth brings it more into spirituality. So maybe some Pisces, now that Mars is here, it's going to stimulate that desire to be spiritual at home, to pray at home, to meditate at home, to read a spiritual book at home, or, it's like you find God at home, and that might be inside or outside, but it kind of does have that meaning. And Mars will speed that. It'll stimulate that activity of like whatever it is that you do to feel like you're like you're on the right path, or like you're closer to the divine. It's like you might just be doing that stuff more. And yeah, you might just be really motivated for some reason to really just commit to a spiritual practice that is private right now. And that might be, starting Saturday, or just ramping up a little bit. And it might be something that you started back in May, the end of May. So think about that. Did you start doing something at the end of May that now you're like, okay, I want to do this more? And it could be anything. You can be visualizing, journaling, meditating, anything. Reading a certain book that you got back then that you're like, okay, now I really got to figure out what this means. Just something you're motivated to do. And because it's in the fourth house, it doesn't have to be related to like what you want to achieve. It's just like you really want to learn about this spiritual thing. You really want to learn about this era in history that was meaningful to spirituality, or, something like that, where your desire gets sort of stimulated, it increases. So yeah, I don't think this will be too bad for Pisces. And I don't think this will be too bad for most of us, actually, because Jupiter is there, right? So it's like what would normally be maybe a more challenging transit. The thing about Jupiter is I so misunderstood it when I first started astrology, because I really thought Jupiter would be the best, most amazing lottery winning thing ever. And I've had so many times where I had to look for Jupiter, because if you just look, I'm not really like, I guess if you just look at the thing that just happened, maybe it's bad, you won't see Jupiter, because Jupiter is like the person who helped you through the bad thing. And sometimes we don't know. That's the thing. Sometimes we don't know our Jupiter because we don't know what it's like to live without it. Man, that has been such a lesson. It has been such a lesson, because I really thought that like I didn't have any blessings. But then it's like with Jupiter in the 6th, people always help me solve my problems. People always, like anytime I have a problem, if I ask someone for help, they will help me. Which it is what it is. I thought I had a bad Jupiter because it's in the 6th house, But sometimes we don't see the Jupiter because, well, my Jupiter is tied up with problems. And a lot of people, Jupiter's helping make what would have been a lot worse better. So sometimes we have to look a little bit harder to see it. So with Mars being with Jupiter, if you want to study this on your own and you know how to look into the past in your chart, what you can do is look at the last time Mars was in Gemini. And maybe I'll just give you guys the dates on that right now. Let's just do it right now. It'll be like a couple years. I'm just going to look it up. I don't have the screen up, but I'm just going to find the date. So that would have been about 2 years ago, actually. So Mars entered Gemini August 20th, 2022. August 20th, 2022. And it stayed there until so let me write this down. I will forget August 20th, 2022 until August, or no, it stayed there for a long time. What? Why? I don't know. Is it going to retrograde? Oh, this is when we had the retrograde. Okay, so it stayed there forever. But that's okay. And then it retrograded. I'm seeing this on the chart. I'm just going back. Oh, it actually, I feel like we just got done with this. This was forever, you guys. This was forever when Mars was in Gemini. So this might not be the best example, but we can still do it. Till 2023. This feels so wrong in my mind. Like how did it stay there so long? But I see it on the thing. So 3/24/23, March 24th, 2023. I'm totally confusing myself because it retrograded. So what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to tell you guys what you can look at to see, because right now Jupiter is with Mars. So I'm trying to help you see, you can see what happened the last time Mars was in Gemini, and then you can see what that did in your life. And then you can just add goodness to it because Jupiter's there. That was my whole point. But I distracted myself because the last time Mars was in Gemini, it was there for a long time. What did I say, you guys? August 20th, 2022? August 20th, 2022 through March. I swear I just typed this out. Did I put it here? Oh my God, I can't. Through March. But I think we should look at the one before that. March 24th. Oh yeah, it just keeps taking it out of the comments. Okay, so that was the last time. I just typed it out. And then let's do the one before that because it'll be a more clear, easier to kind of see the significations because it won't be retrograded, hopefully. Oh, here we go. Weeks. Okay, so Mars was in Gemini before that. March 31st. Mars, I'm typing this in the comments, March 31st, 2019, until, we're just seeing when it left. Until May 15th, 2019. Okay, so here's what you can do. Now that you've watched this video, I talked about what area of life Gemini represents for you. See what happened from August 20th, 2022 to March 24th, 2023. I would say it's okay to skip that one if you want to because the retrograde made it more complicated and it'll be a longer period of time. But you can see what happened from March 31st, 2019 until May 15th, 2019 in your Gemini house. And then add goodness to it because Jupiter's there making it better. So you could think about the problems you've had, especially like, did you have problems in your Gemini house during these dates? They're in the live chat. August 20th, 2022 through March 24th, 2023. Did you have problems in your Gemini house at that time? What were they? Then did you have problems in, or good things, possibilities? Were you busy? Were you working on stuff? In your Gemini house, March 31st, 2019 to May 15th, 2019. If yes, what were they? But this time Jupiter's going to help you solve those problems. So look for the Jupiter. Look for the Jupiter. Look at those problems possibly coming up in a different way, or look at that focus you had on making that part of your life happen, or your motivation you had, and consider there's going to be a blessing helping, or there's going to be guidance, or there's going to be a teacher, or there's going to be something that the universe is going to kick down. It doesn't mean it'll fully solve it, because Mars is there. You have to do it, right? We have to do it. But just know that this Mars going through Gemini is going to be better, because that's what Jupiter is going to help us with. So if we can do this, we can look back and see what was happening before. You can go back through your whole life if you want and see, is there a theme of Mars and Gemini for you? And if it is, let Jupiter help you make it better. Take the course, get the teaching, get the lesson. Let yourself get the lesson. So that should help you find the blessing, right? Because sometimes, like I said, sometimes when it is a problem, we don't always see that Jupiter's still there making it better. So that's what I have for you guys today. If you want to get my course on the 9th house, it is out. It is available. You can get it. I think it's really good. There's a link describing it, but basically I made it because I think a lot of people will start with the nodes, and they'll start with Pluto, and they'll start with planets. But if you have no planets in your 9th house, a lot of people don't know how to read a house. And so they think, I don't have planets there. That's not part of my spiritual path. But your 9th house is literally the house of God, and it tells you your spiritual path. You just have to know how to figure out what planet represents your 9th house. And that's what I teach you how to do in the course. I teach you how to find that planet. I teach you what the sign means. And I teach you how to find the aspects to that planet. And then you get to learn all that. And then what house it's in. And then I teach you how to do it to your sun and your moon. So you get your 9th house from your ascendant. And then you'll learn how to find your 9th house from your sun and your 9th house from your moon. And find that planet and do the aspects to that planet. So unless your sun, moon, and rising are in the same sign, as long as they're in different signs, you get 3 times the information. So check that out. Check out the link below. It's $100 and it's worth it. And it's through Podia, which means that you can actually message me in the course. So if you get in there and you're like, uh-oh, I don't know how to read this. I don't know if I'm doing this right. Did I find the right planet? You can actually ask me. I'm not in there all day, but you can message me directly and I will answer you and help you. So that's what I have. You should definitely get it. And I hope you guys have a blessed and beautiful Mars in Gemini. And I hope to see you guys in another video soon, and have a beautiful weekend. Bye, everybody.